Hello friends, this is my YouTube channel. I do you can watch it for a strong foundation of information technology and promises you to give you conceptual knowledge in computer. Keep watching for latest videos. Time to time I will come up with the latest video in computer. Thank you.
Tell you about what is known as a function. Functions are predefined formulas. So let's understand a little more with an example. So up here I had done the calculation equals a1, b1, c1, d1. But say for example, I had lots of numbers. I had some numbers in E1, F1, G1, H1, all the way up to Z1, and I wanted you to do a calculation here to add all of those numbers together. Now if you had to do it, that will take a long time. You'll have to type A1 plus B1 plus C1 plus D1 plus E1, and that will take a long time. So to solve these problems, functions come into play. So there is a function called sum. Sum stands for summation. There is a function called average, so you can do averages together. So I'll show you how these functions work. So whenever you do a calculation, you have to start with an equal sign. So I'll do it here. Up here, I'll do a function where I want to add A1 to D1 together using a function. So I'll type equal FUM, and I start the bracket, and I put A1 colon D1, D for David, and I close the bracket, and I use the check mark, enter, and I get the result 10. Okay. So I could do this calculation anywhere I wanted on this sheet. I could do summation of A1 colon Z1, doesn't matter. So you see the structure of the formula. Equal sign is a must, name of the function, and the range. What is the range? Whenever you have more than one cell, it's a range of a cell. The ranges are in the bracket. I'll delete this and I'll do it another way. I'll type equal FU. Now when you type them, the word S and U, you see all the functions starting with the word sum. And you can click on it and they'll give you the explanation what that function does. There are lots of functions here, which we'll try to get a few of them so you'll get an idea of how to use it. Now if I want the sum function, I can double click on it. And you see it highlights the bracket for me. Highlights it and puts the bracket. Now I just take my mouse, go to the middle of the cell A1, left click and hold it, and I drag. And you see it puts the colon and everything. And now I can hit the enter key, or I'm in the habit of closing my brackets, and I can use check mark, enter, or enter on the keyboard, and there it is. So that's summation. I'll show you one more way of doing it, which is even easy. I'm in the cell E1, that's where the formula needs to go. I'm in line of my information, so I can just highlight it like this, including the empty cell, and in the right hand corner there is a Autosum button. So if I press it, it puts the number 10 in E1. I click on it, and you see it puts the whole sum function. Now you see I did not type anything in it. No equal, no nothing. I'm going to hit delete, just show it to you again. I highlight either like this or including the empty cell, and I hit the Autosum. Now if I wanted to do the Autosum, say down here, so I just click on that cell. Now I start the Autosum, and it's making a guess that maybe you want to add these things together, which is sometimes wrong. So all I need to do is highlight the proper range, and you see it replaces that range with this range, and now I have the right result. So I'll just hit delete here. Now say up here I want to do an average function, so I'll type equal AVE, and you see the word average shows up, so I don't make a mistake. I can double click on it, and now I can highlight the range, and I can close the bracket, and there it is. So I got 10 divided by 4, which is the average of those 4 cells. So in one step I'm able to do 2 different things. I'll show you the other way of doing average. Next to the Autosum, there is a drop down button. There is a function the average. I click it. You see again it makes a guess that I'm on average of this, which is wrong. E1 is already highlighted. So I can now start highlighting it like this. And then I hit enter. Now the same way, I'll go to the next cell. In the drop down button, I can choose max. I'm going to highlight the range and I'm going to hit enter. So max means show me what is the highest value in that range. I can go to the next one. I can start the min. Again, makes a guess, which is not what I want. I want minimum of these 4 cells. So I highlight it and I use check mark. So it tells me the lowest value is number 1. So you can highlight any range you want. The only thing to remember that your calculation cannot be within the range. So I'll show you what I mean. So if I'm just going to highlight this. So if I highlight this whole range, that is fine. But I cannot highlight it like this because the E4, which is where the calculation is going, is also within the range. So this will be a problem. So you just want to make sure your range is outside. Now if I type a number here, 100, should have changed A1 to D9. Oops, I was trying to change this number, but I put 100, that wouldn't change. But if I put 0.1, now that should change because it's looking for a minimum value in the range A1 through D9. So it's looking in this range. So that's what this is. Okay, so I'll just delete that. So this is the idea of doing functions. So I'll just add an extra element to it. So I'll just click here and I'll add some more numbers. 7, 8, and then 9. Now what I want to do is up here, I want to do a summation of these 4 cells and also these 3 cells in one click. But I don't want to do a summation of this whole range, not the stuff in the middle. So this is what will be called discontinuous range. This is one range and this is another range. Now what happens is when you try to highlight this range, you lose that highlight. To fix that problem, you can hold the control key on the keyboard and you can highlight this. So they both stay highlighted. Now this control button can be used even in Word when you want to highlight different headings. So you highlight one, hold the control button, and then you highlight the second one. So I'll click here and I'll start the Autosum because I want to do summation. You can do it manually too by typing equals sum. It's up to you. I start the Autosum. It makes a guess, which is wrong. So I'll highlight the first one. Now I'll hold the control button down on the keyboard and I'll highlight the 7, 8, 9. And you see it puts a comma there and it highlights the rest. And if I use check mark, I get the result 24. I'll show it to you one more time a little differently. I'll start the sum. I'll highlight the first range. Now if you did not want to use the control button, you just put a comma yourself on the keyboard and then highlight the 7, 8, 9. And then I can hit enter. The same way you can do it for average. So I can start the average function, highlight the first range, hold the control, and then highlight the second range. Okay. So you can use it for anything, wherever you want it. Now I'll start the Autosum. Now if I wanted, I could do this, hold the control, this, this, and this. So I can do summations like this too, or with combinations of ranges and individual cells. It doesn't matter. Now just to explain to you how these things can function even more, I can do summation of one range and I can subtract the summation of another range. So I can do equal, SUM, start the bracket. I highlight this range. I'll close the bracket. Then I can put a minus sign and I can put sum again, start the bracket, and I can highlight the second range. So you see what I'm doing is I'm trying to do summation of a range minus summation of another range. So this is important that both the sums have to be there in front of the ranges. So if you put a range and you don't have a function in front of it, let's see, you will get some kind of an error message. So usually you get an error message. I don't know maybe in this 2013, it's tried to fix the problem. So usually you have to put the word sum in front of it. And now you see this is what the actual answer is. Before I had the result 2, which I don't even know where that came from because the Excel program doesn't know what to do. Now you can do anything like that. You can do summation of a range minus average of a range. Till the time you follow this protocol, you are okay. Now if you ever wanted to see what formulas you have applied on your screen, because right now you don't know which cell has a calculation and which cell has a number, because you'll have to click on the cell and then you'll have to look at the formula bar. So if you wanted to see it all together, you go to the formulas tab, and in there you see a button called show formula. And when you press it, now you see I see my formulas on my screen. Now when you are done, you need to make sure that you turn the show formulas off, otherwise I'll keep doing my calculation and I will not see the results of my calculation. So you press it, now it comes back to the screen again, and I can come back to the word home. I'll just do one more thing in this video, which is called fill handle, and then I'll end it. So I go to a new sheet by pressing this plus sign on the bottom, and I'll increase the zoom, the plus sign in the right hand corner. Now I'm going to type some things here. So I'll type Monday, Jan, Q1, and I'll put some numbers here, say 2001, 2002, and then I'll put 1, 2, and then 2 and 4. So this is Monday. Now what I want to do is I want to put Tuesday here, Wednesday here. Now you could do it, type it on yourself, or you can use a feature in Excel which is known as fill handle. So I'm going to increase the zoom a little bit more. Now you see in the corner here there is this tiny square, and when I point to it, it becomes like a tiny plus sign. That plus sign is called a fill handle. When I left click and hold the left click, when I see that, I drag. And you see it fills up to Sunday. If you drag even further, it will put Monday again. Same thing I'll do with Jan. I point to the corner, look for the plus sign. Now you got to be careful that you don't use this. You see this is not fill handle, and this is not fill handle because that is used for highlighting. So don't confuse the concepts. Now if I go to the corner, there's the plus sign, I can drag it. If I went further, it will put August. Now if I had typed the whole word January, it would put the whole word February. The same way here, if I had put MON, it would put TUE, and so on and so forth. For the Q1, again, I point to it. So you see there are 4 quarters in a year, then it goes back to 1 and 2. I can do the same for the numbers, but the problem is if you try to do it on one number, so I'll try to do it, it will copy only that number. So this is good if you wanted to copy the same thing. So I'm going to hit undo. But in this case, what I want to do is I wanted to do 2001, 2002, 2003. I wanted to do an increment of 1. For this to work, you have to highlight both the cells together. And now you look for fill handle. And then you drag. So you see, Excel understands when you highlighted both that you need to do an increment of 1. Now if I want, I can highlight these 4 cells all together. I could even do it all of these together. Now I look for fill handle and I can drag. So you see, wherever there was the increment of 1, there is increments of 1. Wherever there is increments of 2s, there is an increment of 2. So this is kind of known as a linear progressions. So you can create these type of linear progressions. If I had 3 and 6, I'll put 3 and I'll put 6 here. And if I highlight both and I use fill handle, now it will do increments according to that. 3, 6, 9, 12. I'll just hit the undo button to come back. So that's it for this video.
Thank you. Thanks for watching my videos.